certo costruite in un giorno, ma questo complesso che vedete di 160 unità qui a San José in California sicuramente sì, perché si tratta di case modulari o, come le chiameremo noi, prefabbricate. Esteticamente evolute, le modular house devono rispondere a 3 condizioni fondamentali: facilità d'acquisto, costi contenuti e tempi di consegna certi. Rob Salvik, uno dei costruttori, ci guida letteralmente alla scoperta delle case modulari qui in California per voi su ACM Channel.
A modular house is a house like any other that just happens to be built in pieces or components off-site and then brought to the site for final erection. There are 3 distinct advantages. One is a cost savings of approximately 10 to 25%, as well as the ability to get a fixed hard cost on all of the material prices. Second would be the ability to have a house that is built probably stronger than you would build on site because of the necessity of having to transport each module some distance from the factory. Third would be the fact that you have a very, very fast build, and the house can be built concurrent with the preparation of the site and the foundation. So instead of taking 6 months or a year to build a single family home, you would be able to basically erect it as soon as the foundation is dry and close in within a week. Materials used in a modular house are really no different than would be used in any other stick-built house. The house has to conform to all of the standard UBC or IRC building regulations as a stick-built or site-built house. So you would see wood, sometimes steel studs, and the standard connectors and glass and other materials that go into a normal home. The way that the houses are erected or put together on site varies a little from manufacturer to manufacturer, but in general terms, they are picked with a crane, put on the foundation, bolted down, bolted to one another, and then connections are made between the modules for all of your electricals, utility, water, waste lines, and the rest.
È probabile vi siate chiesti come sono questi moduli. Beh, ecco, questo è un esempio. La casa che verrà costruita ne avrà 7 su 2 piani e quello che vedete alle mie spalle è uno dei moduli che andrà al primo piano. All'interno è completo di tubature, sistema d'allarme, fili elettrici, insomma c'è tutto quanto, va soltanto unito. La casa sarà di circa 200 metri quadrati.
With regards to value and the holding of value, and obviously the larger real estate market withstanding, a modular house that is built to, the uniform building codes will hold the value exactly the same as any other house. And again, because it is typically of a stronger construction, you'll see that it is able to withstand seismic loads, wind loads, and whatnot very, very well. So there's no reason for it to sell at a discount. As far as energy efficiency is concerned, it's kind of a 2-part question. First is just the use of resources in general. You're going to see that the waste from a site-built house is probably about 4 tons. As compared to a factory-built house, you're probably going to end up with just a few wheelbarrows or a few, garbage cans, because they've been very clear in engineering the use of the materials. As to its actual energy efficiency for the occupants, again, they have to subscribe to all of the titles and regulations for energy efficiency, and actually right now there are 3 modular manufacturers that are licensed under our Energy Star program with the government for high energy efficiency. This is where it's very important to understand who your builder or your manufacturer is. Some will follow very distinct lines and have very set models, much like large production builders here in the States, and others will allow you to basically have a custom home built. And in either case, you're able to specify finishes like countertops, tiles, paint colors, drywall finishes, and the rest. Outside, you can choose finishes, again, to fit whatever style you're looking for. If you would like a colonial house that has clapboards on the side and wood, you can do that. If you'd like stone facing, that can be applied on site because of its weight, obviously. It wouldn't be transported, but you can choose pretty much any exterior finish that you would for any other, site-built house. Cheap is a relative term. I think in terms of value, modular houses are a good value because construction costs here in the state, especially on the West Coast, have been skyrocketing. We're probably, again, looking at about a 10 to 25% savings over site building, and that's going to depend upon which manufacturer you use and what design. Timing and scheduling delays are just part of construction. But because the buildings, the modules themselves are built off-site, all of your electricals, your plumbing, your drywall, your waste lines, electrical fixtures, everything is already in place largely. So the house comes pretty much 90% complete. So you've really circumvented all of those delays, and you get down to a scheduling question with your manufacturing plant, and then your transportation times. So you're pretty much able to have things delivered and get them assembled again within about a week's time. Actually, there's a very large established commercial modular industry that's well in place. They do two basic types of structures, if you will. One is a portable type of structure that may be semi-permanent, and you see those in a lot of schools and some construction installations, hospitals, etc. The other would be permanent modular construction, which is more of what we're talking about. And yes, very much so. And in fact, the ability to go in and build a gas station, or a coffee house, something similar to a Starbucks, or a restaurant that's got a fairly consistent type of footprint to it. Modular construction would be excellent because it allows the owner to open up in a fraction of the time and get the revenue running on that business much more quickly. How it would work in the Italian market, I think that's a function of consumer awareness, and if people would like to see the style of the houses that you choose, which can be built to any style, okay, and basically how those houses feel to them as compared to what they're used to living in. I think that it's entirely possible with some of the high designs that they would be very, very attractive in the right locations. As to traditional Italian construction, home residential construction methods being in stone and brick, this is just a different approach. And again, construction practices grow up from what is indigenous and available in the local area by way of materials and traits. So would people be willing to live in modular houses that were built of wood or steel studs? They may well, but again, that's just a question of consumer adoption and what their preferences are. I think if you put some out, you get some very, very quick opinions from people.